Welcome to Healing from Within. I'm your host, Tony Valen. You can contact me, Tony, at tonyvalen.com, or visit our website, healingfromwithin.net. Follow the show on Twitter at TVHFW. The show is also available on iTunes and YouTube. Just search Healing from Within with Tony Valen or look for the Tony Valen channel on YouTube. Joining us on today's show is blogger, podcaster, and public relations and social media consultant Miriam Slozberg, and author, writer, producer, director, and photographer Carly Alyssa Thorne. For the first time, two guests, one topic. To learn more about Miriam, you can go to miriamslozberg.com. For Carly, go to carlyalyssethorne.com. Ladies, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So let's get started. Miriam, what are your gifts and how did your journey begin?
Well, this is actually a very interesting story. I started off as being very interested in metaphysics and astrology, which I still am, by the way. But I think just over time, I shifted into social media and marketing, and that's basically how it was. Like, it's natural, evolving, not really knowing why or how, it just happened. So in 2011, I started my business, Gemini Rising Limited. And the reason I named it that was because Gemini rules communication, and I thought it was a perfect name as a result. So then I was offering services like SEO and social media and even web design. Even though I don't do web design, I had a partner that was doing it, so I was offering those services through the partner. And that's just how it evolved, if you will. And things are obviously a lot more different they're a lot more different now than they were back then, because just it's evolving. This industry is constantly evolving.
Absolutely. All industries are evolving, and we're so much into social media. Carly, same question for you. What are your gifts and how did your journey begin?
Well, I have quite an interesting past and story in growing up, actually. I left the United States when I was 5, and I came back to the United States when I was 14. However, my mother, when I was in her belly, if you will, contracted German measles. And so when I came out, I had, immune issues, etc. That resulted into a lot of medical things and to date, 32 surgeries involving a bunch of things. But anyways, so what happened was from a very early childhood, I learned that there was this energy, just something that was just guiding me and keeping me safe in some way, if you will, through the times that I was scared or in pain or what have you. And as I got older, I actually realized I was extremely intuitive. I was very, very empathic. I could feel things viscerally. So as I got older, I always had two kind of linear paths. On one side was Western mythologies and theologies and literally Western medification certifications. And on the other side of my life was this whole Eastern path of homeopathy and herbiology and Reiki and just studying all those arts. And so that kind of led for my childhood. I was always, training people in terms of teaching them the mind, body, business, spirit interconnection and working with people on their whole body and in their business. It was very interesting, using both sides from a very non-woo-woo place. And that just kept evolving and evolving. And then that also led to, obviously, my interest in photography. And it's one of those things for me, it's hard to really explain because they are so interconnected. To me, it's bridging the East and the West. I use it in everything I do with clients from all walks of life, from production to, consulting.
I decided to interview both of you together because what you have to offer is so similar, and I simply wanted the listeners to not only take advantage of what you offer, but also to get a better feel for any difference between the way you two have to offer your services. That may be one way they can decide which one is a better fit should they decide to take advantage of your talent. In today's world, it has been hammered into all of us who run a business, and it doesn't matter what type of business it is, that internet presence and social media are highly important for the success of that business. Why should someone listen to the advice?
The fact of the matter is people are looking to see if a business or business owner has a social media presence. This is the way the world works now. traditional ways of marketing, such as TV, print, and radio still has its purpose, but it's not the only way that gets the message out anymore. It may just get the message out that there's a new service or product or what have you out there. However, what people automatically do is they go and look and see what kind of social media presence. They expect to see a social media presence. If the business doesn't have much of a social media presence, then they're going to not, there's really nothing, there's just nothing for them to go by. So they're going to look for their competitor that's offering the same kind of product or service that does have a social media presence, because social media creates trust. It creates a relationship, if you will, and this is what people want. They want to get to know what the business is all about before they just jump in. So this is one of the reasons that social media is extremely important for businesses. And it also creates like I said, a presence, a reputation for a business owner. This is why it's very important that business owners are very active on social media and are sharing good quality content, engaging content, and are engaging with others, because this way, if that is seen and that is noticed, then again that creates trust. So that's basically in a nutshell why social media is extremely important for business owners.
So let me ask both of you this question, and either answer first, whoever jumps into it first. Say you start social media and you create a certain brand, and it turns out that the brand you're going for is not exactly who you are. How possible is it to correct that, and can one of you or can both of you help redirect someone's brand?
You can do it. You just start putting content out there that matches your brand. That's what you do, and that's where you put the focus on.
Your thoughts, Carly?
The biggest thing about rebranding is, to me, everything in social media is transparency. And whether people know it or not, we are our brand. If the product is XYZ and they're buying XYZ, everyone wants to know who's behind the product. It's just the way it is. And because that establishes the likability, the trust factor. And beyond that, people want to see a face. A lot of people don't understand that there's, this ties into the whole metaphysical thing, which is a lot of people don't truly understand, is the fact that we're very multi-sensory beings. We gravitate to a voice. We gravitate to not just a logo. We gravitate to someone's face, their eyes, their body language, all these different things. So I encourage people, if they are branding, and let's say the brand isn't, or whatever, let's say the campaign isn't working to their satisfaction, that again, you're very authentic and transparent about it. And you actually put a campaign out that says, hey, and get the public involved. What do you guys think of this? Because the more you get your fans involved, the more you get your prospective clients out there involved, it makes them feel like they're a part of something. And they're going to get engaged in helping you discover what brand works best for you.
That's a great answer, and I agree with that. The other question I want to ask both of you also is, let's say, when we start out a business, no matter what the business is, it's always about trying to build money and to make it profitable. What would you recommend to someone if they're on the verge of going away from their brand because they're looking for the money? Would you think that it's worth it to go for that money, or is it worth it to stick to your brand?
That's a very good question. I mean, that is the thing that you really have to go and evaluate. You really think that the rebranding is going to bring more money, and you have to find out why. Like, what is it about the old brand that wasn't serving you? So, yeah, I mean, that's the thing. If you have evaluated and really looked into it and found that if you did change your brand, it would bring you more, then absolutely go for it. I mean, I guess that's what you're asking, right? I mean, I'd say, yeah, if it is serving you better, if rebranding is going to help your business, it's going to help you, then definitely go for it. Absolutely. And that is why a lot of people rebrand as well. They're finding that the old brand doesn't exactly work all that well. There's something about it that may be a put-off. And, that's the thing. Carly even says, it's all about energy. Maybe there's something energetically wrong with the old brand. You just never know. Maybe it's the wrong colors. Maybe it's the wrong message. So that's the thing. You need to really evaluate what it is about the brand and why you want to rebrand. And the thing is, if you find that it's the correct fit, then yes, I do believe it will bring you more money if you go about it the right way.
So for me, this is kind of like a twofold question. Just because you can doesn't necessarily mean it's something that you ought to do. So if you're not coming from a place of passion, all the money in the world, bottom line, isn't going to make anybody happy. And so I think a lot of people go after the golden egg, and they're miserable. Divorce rate is astronomical. All sorts of finance issues become astronomical because your passion, your heart, your energy isn't really truly there. So the first thing above all is you must find the alignment and passion it is whatever it is that your service is or whatever it is that you're selling. Because if you really truly follow that, the money will naturally arrive. It's when we go out of integrity, it's when we actually start kind of blending the lines, if you will, that we're like, I'm going to offer this for this, and maybe it's a little bit high. I'm going to do it anyway because I want the money. So, and then, things literally do start to fail. So for me, everything in life and business starts with that transparency, the passion, and the integrity. Once you have those three things in place, then it becomes much easier to navigate the waters. And I'm not saying that even if you're totally within that alignment, that you're not going to have some failures or bumps or anything, because that's life. I think the difference is that if you're in integrity and you have bumps along the way, you're going to get through them faster, and you're also going to have the integrity to go, hey, I need help in this. So you're going to go seek the help that you need to have someone who knows more than you help you either get back in alignment or help you get through that bump. So for me, it's never always about the money. It's always about creating quality service, creating quality values. For me, it's all about empowering, inspiring, educating, because those three components are so big. And it's all those.
Absolutely. And the other thing I've also heard or read about, and I want to get both of y'all's opinion on this, is, and for lack of a better way of putting it, is do your laundry. In other words, clean up your personal life before you get into a business, because once you get in that business, it's only going to get more stressful, and your personal life can bring down your business because you're too involved in your personal life instead of trying to figure out ways to be more profitable. What are your thoughts?
Oh, I absolutely agree. That's the thing. You do need to really clean up your personal life. What is holding you back? What are you have to face your demons. What's going on in your life? Because the thing is, if you're dealing with so much in your personal life, that is not a time to work on your business. It really is, because I do believe that everything is interconnected. Your personal life, your business life, everything is interconnected. And I mean, the thing is, though, here's a situation. You could be doing quite well, and you could be you could be quite balanced, and then start a business and do well, and something comes up in your life, like all of a sudden, say your spouse wants to leave you, or one of your kids gets very sick, or something could go wrong. So now the question is, how do you manage all the problems that are happening again in your personal life, and deal with your business at the same time, and don't let any of the stress spill into your business life? I mean, life does happen. That's the thing. So, you could clean up everything that you can, but you also need to be prepared that while you are in business, things will also come up. So that's really what you need to prepare yourself for and find a way to work on that. So that's, but I do believe 100% what is happening in your personal life will spill into your business life. So it is best to keep everything in balance. And I know this from experience myself.
Yeah.
Everything needs to be worked on, just everything with yourself, because if you don't work on yourself and other aspects of your life, then it's going to spill into your business, and your business is going to fail if you don't manage any of that.
Yep. Carly?
So for me, this is one that I think a lot of people tend to skirt around. So first of all, I don't care who you are, how you were raised, everybody has skeletons and everybody has a past. The biggest mistake I see time and time again is people sweeping things under the carpet. The reason why stuff becomes sensational on the internet is because no one's upfront ahead of time, and then people dig to want to know more. If you're just out there and say, hey, in my case, okay, I grew up with sexual, verbal, physical abuse, and yada, 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 okay, I've had 30-something surgeries. I don't use my story to go, oh, my God, please, feel sorry for me and tell me, that's amazing. I don't do it for that. I use it because basically, I come from a very empowering place that I am thriving, not surviving. Have I had bumps? Yes. And if I can do it, so can you. So, and we're all human beings, and I don't care how well off you are, or how well a business is going. Life is life. You're going to get thrown curveballs all the time. The thing is that as the curveballs are coming, you continue to work through them. I think the biggest thing is being aware of your triggers or your habits, and being so aware of them. If you catch yourself in the middle of something, you can immediately make the correction. So I don't think the old story of, clean up, it's kind of like, I won't go to the gym until I've released 10 pounds. Then you'll never go to the gym. I won't start a business until I'm completely debt free and I have my whole act together. You're never going to start a business. In other words, we're all starting from somewhere, and we're all teachers for each other. So now, I'm not saying I would necessarily take financial advice for someone who in this moment is going through a major financial crisis. I mean, I've made a lot of money and I've lost a lot of money. The difference is that I've also learned from those mistakes, and I've actually done things to correct those situations. And I'm obviously in a different space right now, correct? However, so when you go to work with someone, let's say you're going to them for finances. You want to make sure in that moment their finances are okay. If they had, tremendous financial problems in the past, so what? We all have. So this is my point. So I don't think that everything has to be so tidy and neat for you to actually do something, because what the biggest thing people need to remember, there's always someone somewhere who needs to learn from you or hear the very thing that you are saying at that very given moment. Because we're all at different levels. We're all coming into the game, if you will, from a different perspective and a different place in that very moment. So the people that are drawn to the different people, it's what they need at that moment. So someone else may be up here, someone else be in the middle, someone else may be below. It doesn't matter. We're all teachers for each other. So why are you waiting?
Whenever you have to tell someone something so personal, like, for example, I can help you with the business, but you're going to have to straighten this and this out in your personal life, or just getting to the point, tell me about yourself and get personal and whatever. How do you deal with that? How do you approach people without them getting, they don't trust you or defensive?
Now that's a very interesting question, because I know what that's like. I have issues with that myself. I do tend to get defensive myself, but I am learning not to take things so personally, and that is the thing. I think what you need to do is come from a very gentle but firm approach. Say, look, this is, you start off with a positive thing about them. You say, you have great ideas, and this is good, and this is good. However, here is the situation, and please do not be offended by what I'm about to say. But then you start to tell them I don't know if you should sugarcoat or not. I don't think sugarcoating is a good idea. However, be very gentle, if you will, yet honest. I mean, that's the thing. If they want to work with you, you do have to be honest with them. And they may very well not be offended. They may respect you because of the fact that you were honest, and may be able to trust you as a result. So that's the thing. It's very easy to worry about walking on eggshells, because you never know how the person's going to react. But I do think firmly, if you start off with something positive about them and then lead into suggestions, constructive criticism, then they may take it a lot better than you think.
So feedback is a very interesting thing. We train people how we want to be treated. So I'll give you an example. If your social media page has all positive, empowering, educational, inspirational, motivational content, what do you think people are going to post on your page, right?
Yeah.
If on my page I have, oh my God, I woke up this morning, I stubbed my toe, and I can't believe this day, and I can't wait for it to be over, what do you think is going to get posted on your page?
Yeah.
So it's kind of the same thing with feedback. Feedback is a very interesting thing. We have two choices when we're given feedback. We can choose to take the feedback and learn and grow from it. Now, some people think feedback is BS, basically coming from the standpoint that it's no one's business. In other words, it's just their own individual perspective. And since we're all mirrors for each other, a lot of times we're playing this kind of play with each other. I've been chosen to, like kind of poke at your little spot just to piss you off so you'll learn. So it depends what your philosophy is and what your ideology is. In other words, how far down the rabbit hole do you want to go in terms of what you believe. So some people really do think that feedback's BS. It's like, I don't care what you think. Now, other people take feedback to be as a place to really get something from it. In other words, I have three choices in that moment. I can go, thank you for your feedback, and I'll consider it, and I think it's BS. Two is like, okay, let me look at that. There's something in there that's within me that I need to deal with. And three, we also have the opportunity of getting really defensive and reacting. Now, obviously, we're all human, and occasionally we might do one in all of the three. I have found the best way to give feedback is to start with some of your own stuff. In other words, I've been in this place where blah, 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 and share kind of an experience where you have either faltered or failed in that area and what you did to correct the situation. So then when you start to give the feedback to the other person, it's not like you're automatically beating them down. You're coming from a place of empowerment. And now here's another key thing for feedback. Please listen to this. This is like very, very important, everyone. Mm-hmm. Please do not use the word but when you're giving feedback. It's like me saying to someone, I love you and is going to, if I say I love you and, replace all buts with and. So if I say I love you and, you're going to be very open to hearing that I love you and something else is coming. If I say to you I love you but, what is the first thing that comes to someone's mind?
It becomes very defensive.
It's like you're telling me I love you and then the very next word is but. So they already know something, they're waiting for that other shoe to drop. So very critical in feedback is you never use the word but. It's like, you know what? You're doing a really good job in this. And I think if we just tweak this or that, they're going to be so much more open and receptive to hearing the feedback.
Miriam, in researching the information about you, you mentioned SEOs. What is that, and what's the biggest challenges for SEOs in the future?
Okay. SEO is search engine optimization, and it has literally transformed over the years. It used to be done a certain way very easily. What it is you do work on a keyword to make it appear high up on search engines, because this way, if you search for a keyword, your website ends up going on the top of the search engines, and that's what SEO is. It's search engine optimization. So that means you want to optimize your website to make it show up on the first page of Google or Bing or what have you by utilizing the keywords that people search for. And the thing is, it has transformed so much because a lot of people used a lot of black hat tactics to create these high ranks on their website on search engines, right? So as a result, SEO has transformed over the years where you can't do those black hat tactics anymore at all, or else your website will actually be penalized and even be de-indexed from search engines. Now the thing is that if you are doing it the right way, the right ways, whereas other people are showing interest in your website and sharing aspects of your website and sharing your blog posts from your website, that is where it helps SEO. That's where it helps the rankings. That's how it's done today. So that's the thing. That's what SEO basically is. And you know what? A lot of people say that SEO is dead. It really is not. It just has transformed so much that the old ways of doing SEO is just not. It's obsolete now.
Carly, for you, I have another question. You created your own system and blueprint of working with individuals, businesses, and productions. Briefly describe the system and how you created it.
So everything about me is bridging the East and the West, and I'm very much about multi-sensory multimedia. And so having worked in the speaker industry and the entertainment industry for quite a long while, and because of the tools I had from the East and the West, I basically learned really quickly you can't go around talking about the chakra systems and energy and color, unless it's someone to write that's metaphysically inclined, and they're going to be very open to going, hey, I want to know more about that. So what I have learned to do is I've learned to take metaphysics and teach it in a way that's very grounded and applicable from a doctor to a lawyer to someone who is metaphysically oriented, and just do it in a very grounded, applicable daily use way. In other words, that every single day they can actually take the tools that I'm giving them and apply them. So the blueprint is really based on a multi-sensory premise, and it starts with the very first intake I give to a client, which is actually a multi-sensory intake form, if you will. They walk through the steps of this questionnaire, if you will, and it actually takes them through a multi-sensory experience, and I get into the mind, body, business, spirit aspects of their life. Where are they, whether it be financially, health-wise, not just financially in business, but in life, because since everything's interconnected, I need to know where the triggers are that we need to work on. So that if the trigger is that they're not doing anything about their spiritual life, and spirituality is obviously unique to every single person, whatever that means to them, then if that's out of whack, it's going to affect possibly their relationship at home. And of course, if that's out of whack, it's going to affect work, because people are going to notice that you're cranky, you're moody, something's going on, right? Yeah. So it really does take into, as if my lengthy bio and which shows all the different skills, if you will, I really do take into consideration psychology, theology, communication, all those different components, as well, obviously, is the business dynamics. It's a very interconnected process.
I know that first question I asked you ladies was, what are your gifts and how did your journey begin? Go a little further into your journey to how you got to where you are. Share a little more about who you are. Miriam?
Okay. I don't even know where to start. That's the thing. I guess you could say I'm a mother of 2 kids, one furry kid, if you will. I started working at home after my daughter was born, which was 13 years ago. And that's when I fell into the interest of metaphysics and astrology and all that. And that's how it all started. I started doing readings online. I started reading more up on it. And then I was actually very interested in working from home as well. I actually looked into the multi-level marketing stuff, which was a learning experience. I have to say it was a learning experience. I'm not going to say anything other than that. So I guess that's just how it all just evolved, because the fact that I was working at home, because of the fact that I had my kids, and I wasn't working outside of the home. I worked from home. I found ways to make money from home, and I found ways to work with what I actually like to do. So I went from anywhere from doing astrology readings to writing. I wrote a few books, which I'm not really advertising at all anymore because I don't feel it's relevant to where I am now, to marketing. So that's basically what it is. That's basically how it's evolved.
Wonderful. Thank you. And Carly?
Well, for me, it's from what I said earlier, growing up with, and I touched on in a couple of different places, having grown up with the various things that I did, not just medically, however, the trauma, was one of those things where you get to a place of choosing. Do I want to be a victim, or do I want to survive, or do I want to thrive? So I went through a couple things that were pretty critical, and it wasn't until I had some major event in which my husband committed suicide, where this happened like 15 years ago now, where I literally had a choice point. That choice point for me was, do I want to continue, or do I not? And that gave me this chain of reactions to choose to break the chains, break cycles, and choose a different life for myself. And have the courage to stand up, have the courage to go get help, have the courage to really look at myself and go, what do you really want with your life? So for me, that was the most pivotal, and I'm extremely grateful, experience that really changed my life in more ways than I could possibly explain.
Oh, yeah. Both of you, I'm sorry, let me back up, and I wanted to ask another question that's very important. Why would someone consider hiring someone like you? What type of advantages would they get from hiring either of you?
I'm very hardworking. I provide very high-quality service. I know I do because I provide what kind of service I'd want to be done for myself. So I give to the other. I always over-deliver. I'm honest. They're not going to get any BS with me. Okay, so that's why, and I have a lot of very, very happy clients, and I have some very nice testimonials on my website as well from these very happy clients who have hired me. So that's, I'd say that is the biggest reason that anybody would want to hire me.
And for me, it's really about that I walk my talk. I really strive, and I'm obviously human. When I say I walk my talk, obviously there are times I may falter. I think we all can have the most highest expectations, and I don't even like that word, expectations. You know, we have this premise, if you will, of what we are and what we strive to do. And obviously there are times when you might have that tantrum and you might have that meltdown. However, I really strive to be so conscious of my habits, or, you know, in that moment that something might happen, so that I correct things very quickly. And I'm very known as an implementer, because if I say I'm going to do something, I deliver it. I do it. So I'm a person that's meticulously organized. I have a fabulous team. I communicate effectively. I'm always, in other words, if I work with a client, they know they can reach me, and they know they're not going to wait 24 or 48, 72 hours to get an answer or a response. And I think that is so critical in today's society, that a lot of people on their messages now go, I only answer email every 72 hours. I only answer, you know, I wouldn't want to do business with someone like that. So for me, I've worked really hard at having stellar customer service and having a team that if anyone that's a client wants to reach us, someone is getting back to them within 24 hours. And if it's something even more serious, they're getting back to them immediately.
Wonderful. You both wrote Straight Talk About Social Media and Straight Talk About Clout and Social Media Influence. Getting feedback from both of you. Miriam, tell me what you present in this material.
Basically what was already discussed about social media, how to create a presence and how to behave on social media and how to be engaging on social media and how to create trust, as well as creating your tribe, which is a group of people who trust you and who see you as influential in the field. So yeah, you want to create influence. You want to be influential in a certain field or in a certain way, and there's a way to do it. You have to create a presence. You have to be relevant as far as what you share. I use the 80-20 rule. 80% of the time you share what is relevant about your field. 20% of the time you can share engaging material. Just make sure it's always positive and inspiring and engaging, such as you want to share pictures that people are going to relate to and like. You know, it's good to sometimes share pictures of desserts or puppies or what have you, things that you know people will like. You have to be very careful with what you share. You don't want to spew out negativity. You don't want to spew out anything that could be graphic or sexual in nature or political or what have you, because that's what's going to turn people off. You want to just create a really clean and strong presence, and that's what it is. And then you know what? It all is going to naturally follow. People are going to see you as influential and trustworthy and engaging, and they're going to like that. And that's, you know, you let it snowball.
And Carly, I know that I was looking at the information, and I believe I read this, that tell us how you came up with the idea and why you both decided to work together on these books.
Well, for me, I'm always looking for people that want to learn and grow and are also going to actually, you know, follow through and do all that. And I was working with Miriam on a few other things, and I know she had a metaphysical side. And for me, social media is a social we. In other words, I have socialwemedia.com. The reason why I chose that is because to me, social media is a two-way conversation. It's not an I. So just clarifying one thing that Miriam said, just so that there's no misunderstanding. When she says like 80-20, so the 80% is you're sharing 80% of other people's content. It is so critical to go to a page. If you go to people's pages and they're not public, you can't post to their wall. And it's all about buy my book. Oh, here's my latest book. Oh, by the way, here's my latest blog. My next webinar is, Tuesday, da-da-da-da. No one's going to want to go to that page. They want to go to a page that's public where they can actually say, happy birthday or what have you. And that they're seeing that you're sharing other people's content. Obviously, the content, so that 80%, obviously you're sharing content that's relevant to your niche. You're not just sharing, totally out there stuff. And Miriam is correct. You are showing occasionally that puppy or whatever it is. For me, I always teach about multi-sensory social media. So we're auditory, kinesthetic, visual, audio, digital. So I might put up a podcast, then I might put up a video, then I might put a quote picture, meaning there's a picture with a quote in it. And then I just might put something up that is a written text quote, because some people literally like the visual aspect of it. Some people want to read something like just the text quote. Some people want to listen to something, which would be the podcast. Some people like the mixture of seeing and hearing. That would be a video. So to me, all of social media is a we conversation. It's a multi-sensory conversation. And it's important that we understand that we're all interconnected in social media. So that's kind of how if you look at the globe on the cover of the book, it's my logo, which is already the whole globe, and it says we are all interconnected. I had my designer cut the globe in half and then took all the things that Miriam and I do, and all those items, social media-wise, whether it be text or pen or computer, all the elements, music, all the multi-sensory, multimedia pieces of social media are coming out of the globe.
Right. Thank you so much. And, we just met you, Carly, but I know with Miriam we've been working, and she's actually the publicist for many of our guests, and we want to thank you, Miriam, for sending such wonderful guests to us.
Well, thank you for having me, and it's my pleasure.
Tell us about why people should create, or should they create, a personal Facebook page and a business Facebook page. In other words, is it important to keep the personal away from the business as far as social media?
Well, this is my opinion on that. The thing is, you can, but you have to understand that you need to share what you share on your personal page has to be clean, and it has to coincide with the kind of nature you display on your business page. Meaning, if you're, like Carly said before, if your business page is full of all kinds of positive, inspirational content, and then on your personal page you're ranting and raving and swearing, then no one's going to see you as people aren't going to respect you. They're going to say, this is not a person of integrity. This is a very hypocritical person. Why would I want to do business with this person? So the kind of content you share on your personal page has to be still very neutral at the very worst, but positive and neutral. And you know what? It's okay. I believe it's okay to say that you've had a difficult experience with something. However, bring in, maybe I'm going through this and this and this. However, I'm going to be fine because this is what I've learned from it. That's fine. If you want to be personal that way and bring a positive touch to it, then I'd say that's okay to do. But don't go ranting and raving on your personal page while you're creating something else on your business page. So in other words, again, you have to be pretty much, you got to be a person of integrity, like Carly said. You have to share content on your personal page that's going to not put people off. And so in other words, you can separate it, that's fine. However, don't show one personality on your business page and show another very dark side on your personal page, if you know what I mean.
Absolutely. And on that note, Carly, I want to ask you, how do you address someone that uses social media and they feel such a drive, or they feel that they have to be, quote unquote, controversial to have people follow them or listen to them or whatever? What would you advise someone like that?
Well, one of the old phrases is, I guess, old news or bad news is good news because it brings you publicity. Yes, and what are you? I don't think people realize what are you attracting, because when you put out stuff that's really controversial, you're also going to bring out a lot of the haters. So for me, the four things and Miriam touched upon this a little bit, that I tell all clients, whether it's your personal page or your business page, to never post unless it's your niche. You create a separate page for it. Is no jokes, and I'll tell you why. I always look at sharing internationally, globally content. What may be funny to a male may not be funny to a female. What may be funny to someone here may not be funny to someone in Japan. So for me, it's like, why go there? If I have a joke that I know one of my friends will appreciate, I'll inbox it to them or I'll email it to them. So no jokes, Nothing overtly sexual because you're just looking for things to get stirred. Politics. Why are you putting them on your pages, whether you be personal or your business page? Unless politics is your consulting or politics is who you are, then you create a page specifically for that. And nothing. And religion. Religion is another hot trigger. So if that's your thing, you're an interfaith ordained minister, or you're I don't know, you run a church, great, you create a page just for that. Now, I'm a huge proponent for using personal page for both business and personal, and because the thing is with Facebook and algorithms and everything else like that, unless you want to pay a ton of money in ads or marketing, Facebook pages don't do as well, and it's also very hard for two-way engagement. On a personal page, people are like, well, I can't use that because there's a 5,000 limit cap of friends. Well, here's the caveat. If you have your pages public, anybody can see your page. It doesn't matter about a 5,000 cap. If your page is public, anyone can write on your wall. The difference is you have to moderate it. So basically meaning that you have to have yourself and or a team be checking your page like at least 4 times a day to make sure there's content on there that you may not, if it is going up that you don't want to, you can either take it down and or guess what? Settings. There's a profanity setting even on your personal page. You set the profanity setting. So if someone says a curse word, it gets blocked. You don't tagging. Another one. Set the setting that nobody can post the thing to my page with a tag on it unless I see it first. So a page can be completely public. Allow anyone to have the feeling or essence that they can do whatever they want on your page. At the same time, there are those stop fails.
Absolutely.
Having it public, though, is key.
Thank you. That's very helpful and informative to people. Miriam, what is clout? How important is it and why?
Okay, well, clout is a measuring system that measures your online influence based on the activity you do on your social media, such as Facebook, Twitter, Google+, and LinkedIn, and Instagram. And what it is, it gives you a score based on your activity from 0 to 100, meaning 0, absolutely no activity at all. 100, nobody has a score of 100. And a score that's considered to be elite is 63 and above. And 1% of social media users have a score of over 77. So that is quite elite, like super, super elite. Now, the thing with the score is that it is not the end all. It is not everything about social media. What it is, it's an attention grabber, meaning that if somebody sees that you have a score, say, over 70, then you are extremely active and influential online. The score is just an attention grabber, nothing more, because what people will do is once they see the score, they're going to start looking into your profiles and seeing what kind of content you're putting out and what kind of people you're engaging with. Because the thing is, you could have a very high clout score in the 70s and be sharing, pardon the term here, crap, okay? You could be sharing crap, and you could be engaging with those who are not very high quality people, not to sound judgmental, but I mean, you get my point.
Yes.
The thing is, the score is not everything. It's just an indicator of how active you are online. However, the thing is that most people who have a high cloud score are sharing good quality content. So that's the thing. The score is just an attention grabber, and I'd say that is just about it. And the rest will, if somebody spots you have a high cloud score, they're going to start looking into what kind of content and what kind of person you are and all that. So that's what it is. I guess you can just say it's the eye-opener.
Absolutely. Forgive me if this may seem a repetitive question, but I just want to bring the point across to everyone. How do you address people's concerns about return on investment?
Well, ROI is a very interesting thing. So some people say, okay, social media is a waste of time because of what is your ROI? And what I have to tell you is I just interviewed, and I don't know if I'm going to say his last name correctly, it's Phil Kurbachek. And he's just brilliant. And he actually says you make relationships first, business after. So I think that's what people need to understand. In terms of ROI, if you're just pushing stuff out and literally going buy, you're not going to get the ROI. if you establish good customer service, good customer relations, and two-way social conversations, that is how you establish relationships. And establishing those relationships, so what happens? You build tribes, you build trust, you build likability, then you build referrals. And it's through doing that you get the ROI.
Very interesting. Thank you. This is Tony Valen, host of Healing from Within. You can contact me, Tony at TonyValen.com, or visit our website, healingfromwithin.net. Follow the show on Twitter at TVHFW. The show is also available on iTunes and YouTube. Just search Healing from Within with Tony Valen, or look for the Tony Valen channel on YouTube. We're talking to our guests, author, blogger, podcaster, public relations and social media consultant Miriam Slozberg, and author, writer, producer, director, photographer Alyssa Thorne. For the first time, 2 guests, 1 topic. To learn more about Miriam, you can go to miriamsalzberg.com, and you will see the many ways that you can get a hold of her. And the same with AlyssaThorne.com. Miriam, you host 2 podcasts, Getting Social with Miriam and The Expressive Mom. Tell us about your podcasts.
Okay, well, Getting Social with Miriam is what I do is I interview influential people in their field, and it's mostly about business and marketing, and a lot of talk about social media. Also, there's other guests that I've had that are that have been influential in other fields that may have nothing to do with any of those. My Expressive Mom podcast is I felt also maybe I should have put this, I should have added this to the journey, is that I felt because of being a parent, I wanted to put out information on parenting. Not that I'm an expert by any means, but just creating a resource for other parents. You know, I have one child that is completely typically developing, and I have one child that has some special needs. So I figured, you know what, let me see if I can put out some resources. So I created the Expressive Mom site, and I also created the Expressive Mom podcast, where I am interviewing guests that are specialists in the parenting field. And I do feel that I can help other parents by creating this kind of resource. So that's what led me to do this.
Absolutely. So you're creating a sort of a community of moms. It's not necessarily about experts, but just down-to-earth moms that use everyday sense.
Yep.
Carly, tell us about the mantras you live by and why.
So for me, mantras is, I think, more of a keeping yourself in check. And so for me, like I said, everything I put out there is, motivational, inspirational, empowerment, and education. So one of the mantras that I'm always telling not just myself, but I always encourage my clients, and Miriam knows this because I've told her this many, many times, and I'm always telling people to say to self and others is you are loved, you are appreciated, you are beautiful, and you are worthy. And I think so many times, because we don't hear people tell us that, a lot of people don't say thank you anymore. We have issues with our bodies, all these different things. I think those are really powerful things. And it's the same thing I do through my shows. Like Miriam, I do podcasts, and I actually do a video show tying into multisensory. So we film via Google Hangout, and then I have my editor pull the VO out, so we have the podcast. And everyone I interview, I deal a lot with speakers and authors of all genres. We really focus on bringing content that is educational, empowering, motivational, and inspirational. Because to me, those empowerment is very different. A lot of people say, well, those are all the similar words: motivational, empowerment, inspirational. And actually, they're not, because you got to remember, we all think a little bit differently. And empowerment is giving people tools to problem solve and empower. Motivation is basically giving people, like those mantras I just said, and giving them motivation to get off the chair, if you will, and to keep on moving forward. And inspirational is basically giving people content, hearing stories from people that have literally gone from zero to here or whatever, right? So they're very different. And then the educational piece is all resources and content. So for me, everything is about that. And I think mantras are important because it reminds us of the things that we want to keep in check within ourselves, and also how we want other people to treat us. So I think it's and it's energy. People don't realize our words are prayers. Our words are power. Our words are energy. I think it's a very powerful thing to just keep in line with.
Absolutely, yeah. I wanted our listeners to get to know you guys in 5 minutes or less. So may I ask you some questions about yourself and how you see the world and the universe?
Absolutely.
Well, the first thing I wanted to ask you is, do you know your life's purpose?
That's a good question. No. I have to say that I feel I'm learning it every day. Do I know what it is yet? Not completely. However, what I do know is that I am here to help send messages based on the experience that I have gone through to help other people who are going through similar things. That's really the best way I can put it. So as far as what my real life purpose is, I don't know for sure. I think we all have different multi-life purposes. So do I know a few life purposes? Possibly I do. This is why I feel too that I'm here to help parents as well. That's why I created the Expressive Mom. I feel that's part of what my purpose is, to help give information to other parents, especially that are parenting kids that have special needs like I am, but not all kinds of special needs, just a little bit of autism and ADHD. That's the kind of thing, because I'm experiencing it. So I feel that I'm here to help create resources for other parents that are experiencing the same thing. So like I said, I feel that we all have a set of purposes. What they all are, I don't know. So I believe that I'm learning what my purposes are every day. That's the best answer I could give.
Okay. Carly?
And for me, it's, part of my mantra, if you will. I feel like my message is continually and ever evolving, yes. And I know the core message is to teach people to never, ever give up, unless we have to be willing to be in the space where we need to know when to let go of all things, people, and situations. And because people don't realize it's your environment too. So your environment is part of things, right? People you surround yourself with. And so it's all those things put together. So for me, it's never ever give up. And if something is no longer serving you, well, like I said, whether it be people, places, or things, knowing when to say enough and let it go and move on. So I think that's my core. My core really is knowing that if I can go through what I went through and go through 30 whatever surgeries and still be standing and still honor my commitments and, blah, 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 right? Then anyone can do it. So I'm not someone special by any stretch of the imagination, meaning that I was only able to overcome it because I'm special, or I am, the other words everyone loves to use, gurus, experts, whatever, right? To me, it's like I'm just a person. I'm a person that's worked really hard, and I've chosen, that's the big key word. I've chosen to work really hard. I've chosen to stay empowered and positive, ongoing. And yes, I'm human. I still have meltdowns on occasion, and I occasionally still have to go put myself back in check. That's being human.
What does intention mean to you?
That's a good question. What it means is, I feel it has to do with commitment. You intend to do something, and if you're intending to do something, you better stick with it. That's really what it means, being committed to doing what you are intending to do. If you're intending to do X, Y, and Z, then you owe it to yourself, not even to anyone else, that you do it.
Carly?
Intention for me is being in alignment with what I am saying. In other words, if I say I am going to be a positive-minded person and I'm being negative all the time, that is not alignment. So for me, intention is about really being in alignment with whatever it is that I'm intending. Because I see so many people, like I said, I work with speakers and authors all the time, and they'll go on stage and say one thing, and we'll go to lunch, and everything they taught on stage, they're not doing at lunch. To me, it's so important to have that integrity piece and to, as much as humanly possible, to walk that talk. So for me, that is intention.
What are the core values in your life that drive you day to day and your day-to-day decisions? And I know, Carly, you probably already answered that many times, but one more time.
So I truly feel that it's just so important to live your passion, come from truth, be transparent at all possible, and admit you're human, and don't sweep things under the carpet. I think that's just so vital. Just be out there, be open. I'm not saying air your dirty laundry. There's a big difference between airing dirty laundry and being authentic and transparent.
Tell our listeners where people can get your books or anything that you've written about what we've spoken today.
I find the easiest way to find us literally is if you do go to Amazon, and I have an author page, and if you can either Google Miriam Slozberg or Alyssa Thorne, and there's several books. I encourage people to go Google Miriam Slozberg and Amazon. And so the social media books that her and I did together, one is called Straight Talk, about clout and social media influence. And then we did another one that was all about influence, how everything's connected and what to do on social media. I have other, because we both have a bunch of different books. So yeah. I always tell people it's just easier to go Google. You can always find Miriam Slozberg at MiriamSlozberg. For those that are listening, I know Miriam Slozberg is hard to figure out what that might be. And mine as well. You can always go to Alyssa Thorne, and that's CarlyAlyssatHorne. I encourage you to Google both of us, and literally we're all over the internet. Everything will pop up: books, podcasts, video shows, blogs, etc.
What's next for both of you?
That's a very good question. You know what? Whatever is meant to happen, this is my attitude. We're just going to keep striving for the best, and whatever is meant to be is meant to be.
I actually just started working on a new movie that's called The Secrets of the Keys, written by Robin J. And it's a self-development movie with Brian Tracy, John Assaraf, Don Miguel Ruiz, some just brilliant, brilliant people. And hopefully it'll be coming out at the end of the year. Anyone can go to thekeymovies.com. THE Keys, KEYS, movies, MOVIES.com, because this is the second one Robin's done in self-development. And I just think there's so much happening right now. This wonderful mergers with a publishing firm and social media. We have a one-stop place now. Anyone who needs anything, social media, marketing, graphics, websites, publishing, interviews, like Miriam Books interviews. So between Miriam, myself, and my team, we have an amazing resource for people. And I'm just delighted that we can provide such stellar communication and services for people.
I want to truly thank both of you for being on the show. It's been very interesting, informative, and educational.
Thank you so much for having us. We really appreciate it.
Yes, thank you so much. We wish everyone a wonderful day.
Our thanks to Miriam Slozberg and Alyssa Thorne for being on our show. To learn more about Miriam, you can go to miriamsalzberg.com. For Carly, you can go to carlyalyssathorne.com. You are listening to Healing from Within with Tony Valen here on Blog Talk Radio, airing Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Central. Visit our website, healingfromwithin.net. Contact me directly, Tony@TonyValen.com. Please follow the show on Twitter @TVHFW. The show is also available on iTunes and YouTube. Just search Healing from Within with Tony Valen or look for the Tony Valen channel on YouTube. Thank you so much, and love and light from all of us here at Healing from Within.